Welcome to Heal the World Show podcast, brought to you by the Healing Institute. The Healing Institute is a worldwide online hub of holistic practitioners, and we are out to make a difference on health and healing in the world. I created the Healing Institute because I'm really passionate about educating people around health and healing, and that's why I called it an institute. We have been doing this for this podcast is actually our 120th podcast. So I've been doing this for 2.5 years. And the practitioners we have on the Healing Institute are all amazing holistic practitioners. They actually really get to the root cause of what's going on with anyone who's coming to find out what we could do to help them with their health and healing. And we've had a medical model for 50 years or more now, and we know it's not working. And I believe it's because we only looked at symptoms. We didn't look at the root cause. And so that's why I'm very passionate about educating people about the holistic practitioners we have on the website who really get to the root cause. And I've been using holistic ways of being well for over 30 years, so I know that it works. And the reason, my other why for creating this company is we did have a tragedy in our family a number of years ago where my mom passed away at a very young age. She was only 61, and it was due to complications of a medication that she had been on for a long time. It happened right before Christmas. It was December 15th. I was 5 months pregnant with my son. And I say it's not only a tragedy that she died at an early age, but also that my children didn't get to meet their grandmother. And I don't want that happening for other families. So that's my reasoning for why I created the Healing Institute. And then we did create this podcast. So to bring some amazing holistic healers to people. There's so many wonderful modalities out there. So we really want to share what those are with everybody. Now it's February, so I always like to have a theme for the podcast each month. And so our theme this month, it's February, it's the love month. And I am so delighted today to have our guest, Whitney Kobrin. She is a somatic love coach, as well as a number of other things, which we're going to find out. So welcome, Whitney. It's wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you, Parmelia. I'm excited. Valentine's Day is such a loaded holiday.
It
So I'm
is.
excited to talk about it today.
It can be, absolutely for sure. So you are a dating and relationship expert, a somatic love coach, and you guide soul-seeking individuals towards their own authentic love journey. So tell us how you got started on that.
Yeah. So in 2018, after going through the tragedy of losing my husband, also at a very young age, I changed everything in my life. I changed my career. I left my corporate job. I became a matchmaker. And it's been almost 9 years now since then. And the dominoes have just hit one after another after another. And I went from matchmaking to teaching people how to be their own matchmaker through coaching
Mhm.
to learning about trauma and the roots of why so many people struggle to have healthy, lasting relationships. And so I got into somatic trauma healing. And I also got into tarot and do a lot of tarot,
Mm.
mostly at events in New York City.
Mhm.
There's a fun element to it, but
Yeah.
I've also been on this spiritual journey of my own, really learning, you know, beyond even the mental state, beyond the
Mhm.
physical state, into the energetic and spiritual state. So now I would say I'm definitely holistic. I look at the whole person and
Yes.
how
So
relationships affect
important.
them.
Mhm.
And I love love. And I also know that some people might be better off not being in a relationship. So it's not always about forcing things or pushing people together or making someone feel like they need to be in a relationship. It's about being healthy from the inside out.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. And I think society kind of puts a bit of a pressure on us as individuals, both men and women, that we should be in a relationship or we need to have somebody significant in our life to complete us, which, that's not going to work because
Yeah.
we can only complete ourselves from, as you mentioned, from the inside out, not from looking at someone else and thinking that whatever attributes they are bringing to the relationship are going to make us a better person. So I really, really think the work that you're doing is so very important because I think it also it sounds to me that when you're having your sessions with your clients, that they're getting to know who they are. And I believe sometimes the relationships we have don't work because we don't really know who we are.
Yeah. Yeah, so true. So many of us, we're waiting to be told
Hmm.
who we are and why we're valuable. And when we don't even know, we kind of can go out into this dating world with an open, vacant hole, just waiting to
Hmm.
be filled. And that can make people feel desperate or like energy vampires if you're constantly looking for that validation. And I like to remind people that we do have needs. So the word needy really represents people that need external valation all the time. But the reality
Hmm.
is, we do have needs.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
So
I
many,
agree.
and it's okay.
That is okay. I'm glad that you described it that way because that makes a lot of difference. Because you hear that, oh, you're so needy. And I'm like, yeah, I am. It's like, well, you're really kind of you really, you're acting like a princess. And I'm like, yeah, because I deserve to be one. So you have to know that though. You have to feel comfortable knowing that that's who you are and that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing to
Yeah.
know what you need to have.
I think the most important thing about Valentine's Day is to be able to speak up and
Mhm.
say what you want, what you need, what you don't need. And it's the biggest mistake that people make all the time to say, well, they should just know.
Oh my gosh. Not a mind reader.
Exactly. Women do this all the time. He should just know. He should just know that I want chocolates and flowers and that we're going to go out. Like, he should just know, or she should just know. And it's like, well, maybe if you communicate that and you tell them,
Mhm.
then they will know for sure. But so many of us, we just want to assume and put people up to tests. And you're setting people up for failure oftentimes, right? If I'm going to test somebody, I should probably give them a clue that there's going to be a test, maybe even
Yeah,
let them study first, because
that's right.
in the end, if they pass, we're all going to be happier than if they, don't realize that this pop quiz is coming and they didn't prepare and mismatched needs.
Happens. So yeah, it can happen so readily. And I think I don't know if this is your opinion, but I have observed over the years that often women don't know how to ask. We don't know how to speak up. Men don't seem to have that problem, but women just don't know how to ask for what they want. I think I certainly my experience growing up was I was taught not to ask because that was rude. Um, and then I got to be, later in my later years and I'm in business, I have my own business and I'm like, well, if I don't ask, how's anybody going to know what I really need or what I really want? So, yeah, it's
Exactly.
very important to ask for what you want and
Yeah.
because then the other person knows what you're asked, what you want. They're not trying to guess.
And I'll give a quick little piece of advice around asking for what you want.
Perfect. Yes, that would be great.
So, people don't like being told what to do,
No,
right? Like,
right.
it's Valentine's Day and you have to take me out. Like,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
don't usually like to be told what to do, but we can always tell somebody how we feel and
Mhm.
what we need or what we want. I can tell someone I want this. It doesn't mean they have to do it. It just means, and if it's a boundary, there's a consequence if not. So I
Right.
might say, I'm feeling excited about Valentine's Day.
Mhm.
I really am looking forward to going out and spending time with you on Valentine's Day. If we don't do that, I'm probably going to feel sad and disappointed. If I let my partner know that up
Mhm.
front, then he has an opportunity to do exactly what we need, or at least talk about it, right? If
Right.
he says, well, Valentine's Day is a really crazy busy day, why don't we do it on the 15th or the,
Yeah.
if you set it up, then you're not just assuming, because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me.
Yeah.
It just
So
doesn't
true.
work. They don't
No.
always know, but you can tell them how you feel and what you need.
Yeah, and then you're the one that is saying you're not accusing your partner of something that they didn't do or setting them up for a negativity or a failure of some kind. You're communicating which is the way for a relationship to work is for communication for sure. I was
And
just
it's all,
speaking to my son yesterday and asking him if he and his wife were going to be doing anything for Valentine's. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're not going out on the 14th because it was too busy. So they're going out on the 15th to a nice restaurant that they like. I was like, well, good for you guys.
yeah,
So
you
tell
know,
us, we were going to talk a little bit of history about Valentine's Day. And I think there was a gentleman called Sir Valentine, if I remember correctly.
so there's actually two potential Saint Valentines. So there's a little bit of confusion around that. But even before the Catholic saints and the martyrdom that Valentine's came to represent, there were pagan festivals. There
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
Lupercalia, which was a fertility festival for the Roman god of fertility. And they would actually do animal sacrifices, and then if you got smeared by the blood of the sacrificial animal, then you were the chosen person of whoever smeared you. So this
Oh,
is
oh, I see. My gosh.
pretty raunchy. They would be running around through the streets, like chasing each other and trying to hit each other with like animal hides. And they thought that that would increase fertility. And so there were sometimes matchmaking
Mm, mhm, mhm.
practices that happened either through the spiritual leaders or just through the town. They didn't have dating apps back then, so they
No.
would have these festivals where everybody comes out from the surrounding towns and got to meet each other and see who they were interested in. So I could see this being very much like a speed dating plus
Mhm.
some animal sacrifice.
Yes. Yeah. And lots of times in those times, people stayed in their own small little villages. They didn't get out that much. So this was an opportunity for them to actually go to see who was available, if
Yes,
they
who's
were
outside
looking.
of your family.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then what
And so this,
happened with the church? Then the church got
yeah,
involved.
yeah. So this holiday always took place mid-February. And then the church came in, right? Around in 300, 200 BC. And they started, um, yeah, they had Saint Valentine, who was martyred for
Mm.
Christianity, for being a Christian. And so um, he was imprisoned and then executed on February 14th. So a lot of these modern holidays we've taken from
Yeah,
pagan holidays and tried to
absolutely.
turn them into a religious holiday. So that's exactly what happened. And then as time went on throughout the Middle Ages and medieval times, there were some books and poems written referencing Valentine's Day and sharing your affection and love. And so people started writing Valentines. And throughout the Victorian ages, there were poems and pictures and hearts and roses. And what we're starting to see as modern Valentines, the card exchange, the paper, and then Hallmark got involved.
Hmm.
So when
Yes.
people say, oh, it's just a Hallmark holiday, they're very right. It was in 1913 that Hallmark started mass producing Valentine's cards,
Oh,
and it
wow.
became
I did not know that.
industrial, and they
Yeah.
started making things. florists and jewelers,
Mm.
took this and ran with it, making us all feel like we have to buy the
Buy
flowers and buy
something, get
the
something.
chocolates and buy the jewelry and all of that. So it sort of shifted from being this poetic, let me just tell you about how I love you in this letter, to, the consumerism of let me buy you something. But underneath it, this is another point. So, point number one is don't assume that they
Mhm.
should just know. If you
Right.
want something, tell your partner, speak up, be clear, tell them how you feel, what you need. And then point two is to recognize that this is a commercial holiday. So if you are wrapping up your value and worth with
Mm.
what you receive as a gift, and I know gifts can be a love language and it can definitely make
Mhm.
us feel good and special, but still, the sentiment, the words are the most important thing. The
Yes.
actions, the feelings, the connection, that's
Right.
what this is all about.
Yeah.
And in my relationships, I try to make Valentine's Day every day. That every day we're sharing our love, we're talking about
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. And
we're,
telling how much we appreciate each other, regardless
yeah,
of the fact that, you just got a heart or you just got a box of chocolates or or a bouquet of roses. That's so
yes, yes.
important. Yeah.
And appreciation goes
Mhm.
so far,
Mhm.
right? So many of us
Mhm.
feel underappreciated, unappreciated. And Valentine's Day is a great time to remind everyone that you love, not
Yeah.
even just your partner, your friends, your family, your parents, your kids. Like, it's a great reminder to just tell everybody how much you care about them, love them, appreciate them, and remember that it is not all about the things and the money and how much someone spent on
Right.
a gift and all of that. Although if
You
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 tell
were
someone ahead of time,
talking about you mentioned a love language, and I know getting gifts or receiving gifts is one of the love languages because I've studied the five love languages. And in one of my relationships, I was getting gifts all the time, but it's not my love language. So I hadn't read the book yet, or I didn't really understand the why I was not, it wasn't making me, I mean, it was nice, but it didn't, I wasn't all, oh, excited about whatever it was, because my love language is spending time with me, quality time. You spend some time with me, my cup is full. And you can give me as many gifts as you like, or as the acts of service was another one. Do as many nice things as you would like, but I need to
yeah.
spend time, quality time. That's what helps me feel like I'm loved. So,
Isn't it helpful to know that and be
oh
able to
yes,
communicate that?
yeah, absolutely, yes. And unfortunately, I didn't find that out until at the end of a very long relationship. So, but I know it now.
Well, I remember a relationship that I was in before I married my late husband. And this was someone I was really into. I was obsessed almost. I was in love. This was many years ago. I was not as wise as I am now. In fact, that relationship pushed me a lot into understanding relationships and attachment styles and kind of set me on a path
We do
towards,
we do get those lessons, don't we?
yes. So I was in this relationship and I had already broken up with this guy once because I was moving and it was early. I was dating a few different people, like very early stages, and he didn't come help me move, but another guy did. And so I broke up with him once, but I couldn't get him out of my mind. I really liked him. I thought we had just had so much in common. And so I ended up reaching back out to him later and we started dating again. And then we were together for several months, almost a year. Valentine's Day comes along and he really dropped the ball. And again, I didn't know enough to be very clear about what I needed, what I wanted, but he was always a little avoidant. I was always a little anxious. And he just totally dropped the ball, did not do anything, didn't even see me. I think maybe we talked like later in the night. And I remember crying, bawling, gut wrenching, just feeling awful. And decided to break up with him, that he was never going to be there for me in the way that I needed, that he wasn't as into me as I was into him. And this is when I looked it up and I learned that February 15th is the top breakup day in the whole year. There's a big spike right before Christmas because
Oh,
um there's Christmas and then New Year's, and then so a lot of people, if they're in a relationship that's not the one, they'll often break
yes.
up before
Yeah,
Christmas gets.
I have heard of that, and I actually have a friend whose relationship broke up just before
Yeah,
Christmas. Yeah.
yeah. And it's, breakups are always challenging and
Mhm.
hard. But, if anyone's listening to this and you are going through a hard time in your relationship, please don't hesitate to reach out. I do a free consultation one on one. We'll help
Beautiful.
you with a strategy to get wherever you need to get, whether that's finding love or finding yourself again. Um, all of that, because you don't have to do it alone. And I
No.
remember when I went through that years ago, going to my best friend's house and crying with her and eating food, and just how much that helped me. And it really is a horrible thing to go through heartbreak all alone. It's better to have some
Yeah.
support.
So that's how we could get blindsided on February the 15th, is realizing that there's actually something that's coming along and we haven't been paying attention to it. And we haven't been reading the signs that really this is going to happen. And this relationship is not going to go any further. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be a make or break time.
Hmm.
It's like if you're
Hmm.
if you're not sure, you're on the fence, and then all of a sudden you have a big disappointment on Valentine's Day, it can just really put the nail in the coffin.
Okay, well, thanks for explaining that because that is really, really important to know. So any more tips and points that you
Yeah.
have? Yeah.
So the third point that I think will help make Valentine's Day the best that it can possibly be is to pay attention to your own nervous system regulation.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if you're getting really excited, really jittery, take some deep breaths, do a calming, grounding meditation. If you're feeling sad, lethargic, um, like a lump on a log and you don't want to get up for whatever reason, right? Maybe because you're alone, maybe because you don't, your partner's not showing up or you don't have one, but take care of yourself, go work
Yeah.
out, take a walk, take a run. Um, you mentioned that I am a somatic love coach. So I teach a lot about getting to know yourself and love
Mm.
yourself and self compassion, masculine and feminine polarity and attraction. But there's an element that is just your own nervous system regulation.
Yes.
Are you okay? Are you able to handle the emotions that come
Hmm.
up? Um, and so, whatever it is, if you're feeling nervous and anxious, or sad, lethargic, or angry, you know, centering yourself first, calming yourself first, so that you can then take the next action or have
Yeah.
a conversation or make a decision, because you will never make the best decisions when you're in your stress state.
Oh, that's great advice. And oftentimes we could be okay with taking ourselves out for Valentine's Day. It, as long as we're not thinking that we have to be proving to someone or society or our friends or family that we need to have someone else validate who we are. Um, and I know a number of women who have decided, they're going to marry themselves because
Yeah.
they really like themselves and they don't really need a partner to have a relationship with. So, so that's great advice, and especially because I don't think we often think about our nervous system. We what is it telling us? Oftentimes when our bodies are doing certain things physically, it's actually our bodies are talking to us. Our bodies are telling us something we need to pay attention. and we haven't been conditioned to do that. We haven't been taught how to pay attention to when our bodies are talking to us, regardless of what they're saying. So that's a great tip, because if you're starting to feel anxious, or you're starting to feel, you can be excited. That's, there's nothing wrong with being excited. There's a trapped emotion that I teach called overjoy. You think, well, how could you be overjoy? But that you can be, because that's when your autonomic nervous system is getting too out of control. So to know that, oh, okay, so I'm feeling this physically, what does that mean? And then thinking it through and thinking, okay, you can then realize that your body is talking to you. Your body is trying to tell you something. And so what is your body trying to tell you? And what should you be doing to listen to it? And then, as you said, calm yourself down. If you're getting overly anxious, go for a walk in nature or do some yoga. That's
Yeah.
probably what I'd be doing doing some yoga.
Some self-touch, just
Yeah.
touching your neck, like giving
Mhm.
yourself some hugs, caresses.
Mhm.
Like this is scientifically proven to
It
activate our
is.
parasympathetic nervous system. So sometimes we
Absolutely.
just need to get a
Yeah.
hug from somebody or hug
Hmm.
ourselves, as cheesy as it sounds.
Yeah. No, it works. Absolutely. It
Yep.
works.
Yep. Um, I am embracing the gig economy. So I work with a matchmaking company. So if
Hmm.
anybody out there is like, I just don't want to do the dating app thing and date, and if you've thought about hiring a matchmaker, I have amazing referrals, references of the
Fabulous.
best matchmakers, because I don't do that anymore. I'm more the coach. I teach people how to be their own matchmaker. Um, but I do that. I also work for a company called Jigsaw Dating, which is
Oh,
doing a hybrid
yeah.
approach where they have a dating app, but they also have in-person events all across the country all the time, like almost every week. There's different events, different age groups. So on Valentine's Day, I'm actually hosting a speed dating in the afternoon and a find your Valentine party at night. They're sold out already. So I'm not even promoting for those events, although they have them all around the country. So wherever you live, if you're near a city, check out jigsaw.co and you can see all the events there. And then if you're interested in an authentic love journey coaching experience, like I said, you'll have my link tree,
Yeah.
my website. Anybody can schedule a complimentary dating strategy session with me. And it's an amazing experience. People always tell me it's not what they expected. I
Hmm.
don't just teach you how to date and how to use online. It's so much deeper in getting to
Hmm.
yourself,
And
getting to
that's what's important.
understand
Yeah. That's
nervous
that.
system regulation and communication, attachment, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
We go
Beautiful.
deep.
I love it. I love it. Well, this has just been delightful to have
Thank you.
you
Yeah.
on, talking about love, it's the 13th of February. So tomorrow is Valentine's Day, the 14th of February. Um, and um, and so, yes, I'm just so delighted that you were able to be part of our podcast today, Whitney. As a community, we are an international wellness community. We're not just a directory of holistic practitioners, we're actually a community. We all get to know each other so that when people are coming to the website, they get all of us, really. They may choose one of us to start with, but then we all know each other, so we can definitely refer each other to anyone who's coming to look for health and healing. And our vision is to create this community of health experts that do look at whatever it is that you need. So it's not a one size fits all, as we know. So we really, as practitioners, look at specifically what our clients need, and then work with the modality that we have so that we can work with our client. And our motto is service with love. So it's perfect for this podcast and Valentine's. And we do have a big ask. So please let your community and your colleagues and your friends and your family know about the Healing Institute, and all the amazing people that are on the website, and also the amazing people that we have that come on the podcast. And you got to meet another one today, Whitney Coburn. Thank you so much for being with us today, Whitney.
Thank you, Permelia. And happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.